Come in, come in, come in. Welcome. Today is the official soft launch of the Quilt stream, and I have a question for you. When was the last time that you were going to start a new project, a new quilt, and you said, this quilt is going to totally rock the quilting community, and I don't have any need for inspiration? Chances are that's never happened. And if so, today's episode is for you. We're going to be chatting about the tools and the processes that we can all use to find our quilting inspiration. Sound good? If so, let's start the show. Okay, welcome officially to the Quilt Stream. My name is Chip Connor. I am your host. Together, you and I are going to explore the intersection between the passion of quilting and the love of community. I am so happy you're here. This is take two. We're going to consider the first episode that I went live earlier. That's just a little dress rehearsal, if you will. There were some sound issues, and I'm not going to push that out into the world. Thank you for those who showed up for the first time. It was a horrid, horrid mess. But yeah, we're going to make it right for this time. So today we are going to be talking about what are the tools and the tips that we can all use to find our quilting inspiration. And before we do that, since this is a brand new channel, let me take a moment and just introduce myself to you and a little bit about why I'm starting this channel. So for those who know me, I am Chip, and I am one of two people that host Fiber Hustle, another YouTube channel that's been around for about 3 years. My partner Aaron and I, we love to share our crafts that we make. He is the knitter, I am the sewer on that channel. We share our makes with the community. We don't take each other's ourselves too seriously. We call it our tacky little show. And we host bingo games, and we host Zoom meetings, and I tell you, it's the best way to build a community, because no longer are we confined to our geographic centers, and we've got friends from all over the world. So why I wanted to start this channel, so I've been sewing for about 5 years, and I've been quilting for about 3, and the first reason why I started this channel is because I'm being selfish. I totally want to build my sewing muscles and become a better quilter. And I also, on Fiber Hustle has got a huge knitting community, and I've even been able to draw away some of the knitting people and make sewers out of them, or reclaim their sewing identities. And the Quilt Stream is all about quilting. I really wanted to push that forward and focus on that group. So I'm glad you're here. If you're a quilter or sewer, if you're a knitter, hey, all the more, I love you too. But yeah, and you see in front of me, I do have my sewing machine. I mentioned that this is a live stream, and Lord help me, yes, things will happen, and anything can happen. And actually, it makes you, I think, it pushes you to become a better quilter or a sewer when you're doing things live, because you're on the fly. You do not get retakes. So yeah, watch for that. Today, we're not going to be turning on the Bernina, but it's going to be more of a chat. And I've done so much to build this channel and be able to run my little buttons over here to drive the ship. And I have enough on my plate right now without having to do that. So maybe on Friday I'll be sewing. So we'll see what happens then. In the meantime, let's give some shout outs to the lovely folks who joined. I see we have Tracy over from Curly Seams out there. She's in the UK. And we also have Angel. Angel, I believe, is in Virginia. She's on the East Coast in the USA. Thank you. It's around dinner time there. Tracy, I know, is about her bedtime. And then, of course, we have my best Judy Johan, who is of Go Ahead and Make Me in Australia. So thank you guys for showing up. And before we get too far into next steps, let's first take a moment, and I'm going to give a little bit of housekeeping. One question you might have is, when will the episodes go live? So we're always going to stream live, and if you can't make it, no problem. I'm going to keep them. I just got a, wait, hold on, this is good. I just got a big wave from Tracy. Big wave to you back. But yeah, so we're going to go live Mondays and Fridays, 12 p.m. Pacific here in the US. As you can see, I'm in Seattle, and we'll see how that routine works. Next up on the housekeeping, if you have a question and maybe I can answer it, or someone in the group in the chat can answer, start your question out with a question mark, and that way it helps me in the comments. I can filter a lot easily, and just start it out with your question. It's a little backwards, but it does the trick. And most importantly, this is not a you and me, just a one-on-one. I want this one-to-many. So I love you guys to chat with each other in the live chat or in the comments below. It really does build that community when everybody gets to know each other. I can tell you from experience from Fiber Hustle that what has started online in like the YouTube land has actually extended into live one-on-one or with group meetings through Zoom, and it's lovely. So that is all of the housekeeping, and let's get to the topic of the day. So my question for you is this: have you ever been standing in front of your fabric stash and you just felt totally resigned and uninspired? You're like, I really want to make something, but I don't know what to make. And then your significant other or whomever walks into the room and very callously says, well, you should not be uninspired because the credit card magnetic strip is depleted. The poor cashiers have to type in the card numbers manually. You've worn out the card strip. You have all that fabric. How could you possibly be uninspired? Believe you me, it happens. It happens a lot, and it happens to all of us. So this is a really good topic to kind of shop different ideas together and how we can tap into our inspiration. And I'm going to start us off. Maybe it might sound like the bar is low and low-hanging fruit, but who knows? We'll see. Maybe there'll be something new. So one of the first things that you can do is resign yourself to say there is absolutely nothing new. I mean, it is true. There is no idea that has not already been thought about. And when you're considering what inspiration is, it's really just drawing on the sum of all of your experiences. So take you for instance. Your DNA is part your mother, part your father, and likewise their mothers and fathers, and you are a sum of those parts. And your quilting journey and whatever project that you're currently working on is part of that story of the sum of its parts. So you may be responding to a color, or you may be responding to a shape, and you're drawing on these influences. And ultimately, when you get into the next phase, which is more of ideation and design, at that point, you're coming up with new ways to make new connections. So in the beginning, I want you to totally free yourself and just understand, hey, you don't have to have it all figured out. That it really is, it's not new, but it's reinvented. And through your quilting, you can actually reinvent yourself and tell a new story. And I absolutely love that. Second thing would be, I want you to be curious and be clear. Be clear about what it is that when you see something out in the wild or online or wherever that source is, when you're seeing something that just kind of captures you, and it's like it all of a sudden, like radar, laser focus, it captures you in that instant. Like, I want you to be clear on what it is about that that actually sparks your interest. So you may take a picture, you may quickly sketch, whatever it might be, but be clear on what it is, because in the first early beginnings of finding your inspiration, you are a hunter and a gatherer. That's all you're doing. You're not making any decisions. All you're doing is finding what those things, and then you're going to save them for later. And at that point, when you go back, it's like your chicken scratch notes. You're like, what was that? What was that? So be clear about what it is that really is exciting you. Next thing would be number 3, save all of your aha moments. I can't tell you how many amazing ideas that I've come up with, and I've lost them all. And you would think in my early, mid, late 40s, late, middle, early, late 40s, I would have figured this out by now. But, you know, like, save those aha moments. So, you know, you have a book that you could always travel with. You dump that into your bag. It might be your phone. You can take your notes on your phone. You can take pictures, but save all of those. And it could be online. You grab a picture, you do a screen print, or you just download the image. But like, make sure that you're saving all of those, because if it's out of sight, it's going to be out of mind. And although it's not up on there, I want you to revisit those and just live with those. And then if you find later on, what was I thinking? I'm not really inspired that, throw it away. Absolutely throw it away. Which leads me into number 4 is capture only what you love. Why that's important is because I'm going to ask you not to be a hoarder. Don't be a digital hoarder. Don't be a sketch hoarder. You know, think of it as garbage in, garbage out. The more you amass, the more that you're going to have to sift through, and it's kind of hard to see the diamond in the rough. So if you're just out there collecting the things that really spark your love, it's kind of a Marie Kondo moment. You know, get past, you know, is this necessary? Is this sparking me joy? I want you to find that joy and actually keep it. So next thing would be number 5. When you're in your inspiration and you're gathering, no value judgments. This really isn't the design phase. This is just the inspiration when you're being that hunter and you're being that gatherer, that you're not making any critiques about what you're gathering, and you're not, your job is not to be the ultimate arbiter of like, well, if it only had this and it only had this. No, just find out what that small thing that sparked your interest and keep moving. And if you do that, again, you're going to just be finding yourself in that inspiration. And I think sometimes we get caught up in, when you get into the design phase and you get into the critique phase, you know, that's kind of a downer sometimes, because you're like, you turn into this new being, this hypercritical person. And when you're doing the inspiration gathering, I mean, like, that is just about finding new loves, and it's really a lot of fun. So keep with the fun. And then the last tip I could offer you would be, don't worry about building or finding unity between your inspirations. When I first heard this, I was like, oh yeah, because it's like, you can be out and let's say you're thinking fall quilt, whatever the theme of the quilt that you're aspiring to make. You get trapped and boxed into these like, oh, it's, you know, it's theme generated. But no, there could be shapes, there could be different lighting, there could be different values, there could be, who knows what it could be. And for now, all of these different inspirations, they don't actually have to connect. When we get into the design phase, that's when you're going to start identifying what are the relationships that we can make. But for now, all we're doing is amassing. So that would be my top 6 tips just to help you get more freed, and you can start finding those places. Once you're in the right mental space, then what are the tools that we could actually use? So my first one is going to be, we're going to visit Google, and you're going to think, well, duh. Well, yeah, duh. Let me show you. This is kind of amazing. So I'm going to go to Chrome, and let's go to Chrome. We don't want Facebook. We want Google, or as I like to call it, Goggle. But Google is like, it's so at your fingertips. It's always with you. I happen to have Google as my default search engine, but yours could be Firefox. It could be, is Explorer still a thing? Or Safari. So whatever default browser, I'm sure that you can refine your searches by images. And one thing I wanted to throw out there at you is that when we go to Google, immediately I want you to look at the search page in a whole different way. If you're typically using the search bar to do whatever your searches are, if that makes sense, you're using the search bar to enter your searches, stop doing that. Actually go to the Google search page, and as we have here, because this is going to be your inspiration. This should hopefully spark you into getting you into a different mindset. I love right here the abstract word mark. So this is Google, and every single day there is a brand new abstract word mark. And I hope this becomes a trigger for you, because every day Google puts out a brand new word mark, which basically they have called out to the world to say, okay, take our Google name and run with it. And this is what we do with quilts, isn't it? We take a block, and maybe it's a log cabin, and we say, okay, what's a different way that I could do it? And I absolutely love this, because this is really like the best metaphor that I can offer you, that if you're looking, there's some that are so literal, so they've replaced one of the O's with a human's face. And this one is so abstract because there is the letter G, and there is an O, and there is an O, and there's an L, if I can pick it out, and an E. It is so abstract, but the word Google is there. And every day Google is going to publish another one. They often give you a historical remembrance, or whatever the holiday. It might be in a certain state or city, a birthday of somebody who's done something amazing. And every day Google is reminding us, hey, go be curious, go be creative. And I absolutely love that. But if we're just going to do a plain Google search, and like I was thinking, oh, I want to do an autumn quilt, and I get all of these results, and immediately I'm in the awe. I want to switch over to images, and these are all the best of the best, because that's what we're getting first. But these are images that we can just use. This doesn't cost anything. And my word of caution is there's so much content out there that you can often just like get into this downward spiral. So one thing that I would recommend is that when you do online searches for inspiration gathering, get an egg timer, whether it's on your phone or grab the one from the kitchen counter, and set yourself a limit. Like, okay, I'm gonna just be curious for 15 minutes, and I'm gonna save as many of the images that make me happy. If you find one, if you find 10, that's amazing. But remember, grab what you love, don't just grab what you like, because garbage in, garbage out. Do what you love, not what makes you so-so. And when you are searching for Google Chrome, what I like to do is, we don't want to go to Wayfair. No, thank you. I'm not shopping today. Let's go back to this one. Now here's a really, really sweet quilt. I love how they played with the negative color on here. And I could do two things. I can either do a screen grab and then place this into my folder, or I can just save the image as, and then have it saved for later. Now, that's going to take me into a little bit of how I like to organize. If I go into my my folder system, if I really showed you the truth, I just looked and I have like 580 unsorted pictures that I've downloaded, and bad Chip. I know. Do yourself a favor when you're doing these. Try to put all of them into a folder that makes sense for later. So one of mine is that I'm going. Let me get to my copy of the folder. When I'm doing movie posters, one of my big things that I want to do in the future is a movie poster. And what's fun is that really this has nothing to do with quilting, but I know I want to make an art quilt that's going to go on the wall someday. And this is something I've been baking for at least a year. And every now and then I think about it again, and I know this is going to be a lot of work, and that's why I haven't even really begun the design phase. But as far as inspiration goes, I just love, like, I'm going to select on this one. I just love this one right here because I can so see this as a quilt. I love the juxtaposition between that really bright and the dark, and I just know that this would be so appealing and just like pop on the wall. And that's why I saved it, because I absolutely loved it. There we go. So, you know, find something, and when you're searching, don't necessarily just go for something that is quote unquote quilty, because some of your best ideas are going to come from the unexpected. And I don't know about you, but anytime that I see quilts that are in a show, and man, when it's something I've never even dreamt of before, think about it. It's not something new, it was just unexpected. And when you get to that design phase, you're putting those pieces together and connecting the dots, telling a new story. It is amazing, but there's no such thing as new ideas, so you're just grabbing out there in the world. All right, so that would be my my Google image suggestion. And then let's see, the next thing that I want to take you to is, where are we? All right, so the next thing is going to be Instagram. And Instagram is really amazing because I think it does the best job out of any platform in utilizing hashtags and forcing people to do their hashtags. So if I am doing modern quilt, look at that, 305,000 posts to modern quilting or modern quilt, and just eye candy after eye candy that you can sort through. And the only thing that I've noticed that it's not easy to do is that you can't download these images very well. I tend to take screen grabs, but the lovely thing is if I see this one, this is very cool, and there is so much detail there, and I actually get to see who the author is, or who the maker is. And with Google Images, or even most chat forums, you know, you don't know when somebody had made something, but this actually gives you, hey, this person made this, like, this was 2 minutes no, I'm sorry, 1 hour ago, and versus a Google image, who knows when that was made. So hashtags on Instagram are absolutely your best friend. And what you could do is go into that person's, if you find an image that you like, go into that person's post for that quilt that they just put out, or whatever the picture is, and then you look at the hashtags that they're recommending, that they say, hey, this fits into this category, because they may be able to expose you into other areas that gave them inspiration, or that they say, hey, this speaks to this. So follow those hashtags. They're really going to be your friend. One thing that I could add to, it's really not about finding inspiration, but the beautiful thing is, just because it's new and it's a mental note, is that Instagram last week just launched their desktop capabilities. So it used to be, prior to last week, that everything was mobile first. So the only thing that you could do on the desktop experience was chat. You could scroll through and you could comment. But now you can post a story, you can post a reel, you can post a post. And it's really, they've opened it up. So it's not just a mobile platform anymore. They've also brought it to the desktop, and I'm very excited about that. All right, next thing would be Pinterest. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a love-hate relationship with Pinterest. And it's amazing. PayPal, they just announced, it's been all over the news within the past week. It's announced that PayPal may acquire, and they may offer something like $45 billion to acquire Pinterest. So Pinterest must be doing something right. So if you haven't been a fan, or you've never experienced Pinterest, I'd say come on back, because Pinterest is pretty great. Now, the one pitfall that I'm gonna just knock out of the way is I'm not a big fan of the pogo sticking, or like these little labyrinths that you get into. So ordinarily, when you arrive at, let's say I'm gonna do a search and I'm gonna go for quilting, and they're gonna say, okay, what has been called quilting? And this is all user driven. It's not where the platform itself is saying, oh, this qualifies as quilting. It's all user driven. So just understand that although this is more free motion quilting, but you may get results within what you thought was going to be quilting, may not be. So just take that with a grain of salt. But then the other thing is that when you go in, sometimes the person who pinned this post, they were doing what you were doing in Google. They found a post that they liked, and then they pinned it so that they would have that for later. Now, sometimes people will pin posts of other people's posts, which are actually pinned posts of someone else's pinned post. So sometimes it's this rabbit hole trying to get to the original source of that pin, and it becomes kind of convoluted. So what I like to do, the way it makes sense to me, is I use it for my and I'm sorry, let me go back to Chrome. There we go. So if you are here and you're pinning 13 colorful quilt block patterns, that one may not be the original post. And I just want to get to the post. If I find that interesting, and I found this through Pinterest, I'm hoping that with one click I can get to, actually it would be two, because I would go into the actual post and then I want to get to the original source. But that's not how most people use it. People use it where they're looking for all their inspiration through Pinterest, and then that's when you get into the pins of pins of pins of pins. And so what I was saying earlier is that what I like to do is go on Google and then just do my original thing, and then I have this beautiful little widget, because I'm using the Chrome browser. I have a, well, you can't do it on there. Let's go back here. See how right here I have a button up in the top right here, and I can just pin it. So every time I hover over an image, Pinterest is saying, oh, do you want to save it? 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 And so when I do click on that, then I get to choose, oh, is this a fall or is this a perspective? Because I have a board. So just like you have one little picture you pin, then you have a board just like your inspiration board. So I'm going to pin this one to fall quilts. And then I can go to my fall quilts board and, or I'm sorry, you can go to that post later on. So it really is helpful. All right, so that's Pinterest. And the next thing that you could go to would be community groups. So there's two that I have to offer you. And one is going to be, I like to call it My Face, but it's actually the Facebook. So there are there are strong quilting communities out there, and the one that I'm even starting, the Quilt Stream community. And this is where you could have folders. And so like, let's say there was a technique that somebody shared, or there is a, what is it? Like a quilt along, and like there's a schedule, you could do all your files together. So we all know about communities, but what if I was searching for, and I wanted to find a quilting group? Oh, there's the first one that comes in. I happen to already be a member. And they're going to tell you what you can and cannot post. And then what they have is, the nice thing is they do have topics. So here's all, again, hashtag based. They have all of the topics that have been tagged in some kind of comment within the past. But then the nice thing is that, let's say you can't, how do you weed all this conversation out? Well, now within this group, because you're searching within this group, I can say log cabin, and I just want to find the pattern. So now to the right we have different posts, and you see the time, and like this one was July 30th of this year. And so you can go through and you can look at just those conversations surrounding the log cabin. And perhaps maybe this is going to be kind of controversial, so bear with me and hang on. Maybe I'll get a little sip of water first. This might be a little controversial, but hey, we're quilters. We've all seen everybody with opinions. So I'm not a fan. I'm just going to say it. I'm not a fan of show me posts. Have you ever been in a group and somebody says, hey, show me all, and you're in a, like, it's quilting and you're on Facebook or whatever the social platform is, and like, hey, show me all your log cabin quilts. I'm thinking about making one for my relative. I can't stand those, gang. Gang, don't do it, please. I will even meet you halfway and say, I understand why people do it, because they're looking for that instant gratification to, like, hey, with Google Images, when you search for when you search for a log cabin, it may have been a bazillion years ago, or you'll never ever be able to know who actually uploaded that to the internet, and there's no way of getting beyond that visual representation of a log cabin. So in one hand, and this is where I'm meeting you halfway, of those show me posts, is that you do have the benefit of, not only did someone respond to that call, and they showed you their quilt, but then you know in real time, hey, these people are still a good connection. Like the phone still works. So that's a positive. The negative is, if you're doing a show me post and you're asking, hey, there's how many ever members in this group? Show me your log cabin quilts. Then I might be the nice person who, well, I don't have a picture, but I'll go get it. And they lay it out and they put it on the bed and they try to arrange it, make it look pretty. And then they post it. And then there are so many responses that I may get a like back if I'm lucky. And it's really not fair for the person who went through all that work to ask them to do all that work for you when we're giving you a good conversation today on how to find your inspiration. So I would hope that if you're digging more and you want to be a good chat starter, do more than asking people to do work for you. So take it with a grain of salt. That's just my personal opinion. There are so many places on the web and in the world to go get that inspiration. Just don't do it. All right, so that would be Facebook. And the follow-up to that would be, believe it or not, Reddit. Reddit has a vibrant 85,000 people community on Reddit. I've just blown away by this. So it still is, and it probably always will be, but Reddit, on most of the other things, whether it's Tech Talk or whatever it is, you get into the trolls. The nice thing is that you really don't see quilting group, this quilting group, a lot of trolls in there. And it's lovely because just like Facebook, you can go through and you can say, hey, what are the top posts? So every time you upload and contribute to this community, you're going to have people that have the ability to comment, and let's say I go into it and I'm now in this actual thread for this post, then look at this. I can give that person a digital reward. I can share it. I can save it. I can report it if it's a no-no. And it's really, really awesome because I have that conversation, and you can see that a lot of people, this is one of the top posts within the quilting thread that is just, look at this, 503 upvote. So if I like this, I can actually hit this little arrow and upvote it. And now they just got another goodwill post. And that's, that's like a little badge of honor. I absolutely love that. Now, if I wanted to get log cabin blocks, now I'm already, if you can see at the top, I'm already in the Reddit quilting community. Then I can look for log cabins. And now I can see, oh, is there anybody who has done this in the past week? And oh, here's somebody who wanted to talk about a log cabin and they needed advice. So let's try in the past month. And here's 3 new posts or 4 new posts about their log cabins. And oh, this one's a lot of fun. So it's kind of tile or a mosaic, and this is her approach to a log cabin. I don't know that I really would consider this a log cabin. I see one right here, and maybe here. Actually, yeah, it's a full-on log cabin. It really is the way that you arrange those pieces. So I absolutely love this. Now, just like I said earlier, see how every time I hover over this, I'm going to save this, but this time I'm going to create a new board and say mosaics, because I'm going back to Pinterest and saying, you know what? I know that mosaics is one of my future quilts that I want, and boom, I just created a new board that easy and linked to this original post. And it is kind of fun when you're able to take people through your design process and show people, hey, this is what inspired me. And for this lovely mosaic mountainside, that was one of my inspirations. And it's just, what are the little things that I love out there in the world? So that would be Reddit. And the next thing, still going virtual, what if we could go to the National Quilt Museum? Why not? Could we look at some quilting inspiration that are, let's look at the blog. I absolutely love, is that their magazine? I think that's their magazine. So I don't want to get myself too mired down. Let's go, to current exhibitions. See, now this is immediately, it's not a quilt. I'm sorry, it is a quilt, but it's not expected. It doesn't look like, holy moly, that's a quilt. Let me see if I can blow it up for you. That is really, really beautiful. So when are they running? Up and through November. So you have a couple of days. So you could take virtual tours, and don't just think quilt. There's also your local, what if we went to the Seattle Art Museum? You could visit Sam and you could look at their collections. And going to an art museum, friends, this is one of the best ways to find inspiration when you're looking for your next project to do. So I love, okay, here's a great modern and contemporary art. I hope I can get back to that picture because it was pretty inspiring. Can we find it? Actually, no. Let me try this one. So like, this is something that is interesting. Look at that. Look at that. That is a tile floor, but then they also have copper in the corner, and I could totally see this as a quilt. And, so I can't pin this. So what I could do is just do a screen grab. I could just do a screen grab and save it, and I'll put it in my folder. I absolutely love that. And it's very, very modern, but just by looking outside of quilting, you can find some of the best resources to inspire. Like, I really love, love, love looking outside of the world of quilting, because if you think at one time during the quilt shows, and there's everybody's being judged, and then all of a sudden here comes this thread painter, and they actually won a big award, and it was it rocked the foundation of the quilting community, because, well, that's not a quilt, it's not quilted, but I mean, like, it's up to you. This is your art. You are you're the artist, and you get to decide what is a quilt to you. I love, I was in with Johan, who was on the call. He and I did Allison Glass's Trinket Sew Along a couple years ago, and it was all foundation paper piecing. And I said to myself, I hate when people say that, but I said to myself, why can't I do these towers? And it was amazing. Let me see if I can actually find that for you. If I go back to Instagram, I'm going to go to Fiber Hustle. Fiber Hustle. And let's bring you on Chrome. Go to Fiber Hustle. Oh, because I put a space. There we go. Fiber Hustle. And I was so proud of this. This was my Trinket Sew Along that it is going to show it. So I had this Trinket Sew Along, and I made a 3D tower, and there was a small, next size bigger, next size bigger, next size bigger, next size bigger. And I made this, I mean, like, this takes up like 8 by 8 square feet, and it ended up becoming becoming a wall installation at my work. They were really encouraging and said, we'd love to have our employees contribute to the building, all the buildings, and give us your artwork. And so they helped. I mean, they actually helped with the hardware and everything, and it became this really neat installation that I I became a resident artist at my work, which I am so very, very proud of. But again, you get to decide what inspires you. And if you think outside of quilting, you know, the world is at your fingertips. All right, so that would be some of the sources, but what if you're, gosh help me, what if you actually left the house? Now, those of you who know me, I have not really left the house since this pandemic started. I was built for this. Like, you know, when you're a kid and the backs of your heels and your toes, you got blisters because it's not the shoes that had to be broken in, it was your feet. Your feet were not used to these shackles. And in the last 2 years, I now have house feet. I don't have outside feet. So anytime that I have to go somewhere, I actually end up like, oh, my feet hurt. My feet hurt because I'm not used to wearing shoes. But don't be like me. Go out there and I want you to discover, because something I heard and it kind of stuck with me is that when you get distance, you get difference. So everywhere around us in our surroundings at home, we are so used to, our brains are used to the familiar. And you've got to be able to like scratch the record and be able to play something new. So if you get that distance, you may find some difference. And so that would be, maybe you could go to that museum, you can go to the park, you can go, I mean, like, even the grocery store, everything is exotic to me these days. It's like there's inspiration everywhere. And if you are ready to take on that challenge, then this is the one thing. If you don't try any of my other techniques, this is the one thing I'm the most excited about. So what if, you know, you could just take an everyday object, something that you see out in the wild, and you can say, what is that? So you can't see. So I'll bring it right here. You're like, what is this? And no, it's not plugged in. But what is that? I want you to grab your phone, and then here we are at Google again. And if you can see, there's that search bar, and then right to the right of that is your microphone. So you could say, hey, Google. And then Google is going to listen. But to the right of that is a camera button. And this, my friends, is when the magic really happens. If you tap on that, all of a sudden it's going to open up your camera, and then, oh, it just popped up a little blue dot, which says, I recognize something. And then all of a sudden, it's going to bring up what it saw. Is that not the most insane thing that you've ever seen? So, okay, so computers are only getting better. And let's say, oh, it found something, and here's a pattern, and there it is. It actually gave us Robin Ruth, her patterns. So I can go right to Robin Ruth's, her store, and I can look at, oh, these are her patterns. This tool is insane. So I'm going to try 2 more things. What if this is a water bottle? It's not a Jack Daniel's bottle. What's it going to do? Oh, it found the Jack Daniel water bottle. That, to me, is insane. All right, last one. I'm really going to go for the gold. What if I have just a pile of this? Boom. It's going to give me now, it doesn't quite know what that is, but it's going to give me, it knows it's some kind of little basket or a little bag or something, but then it gives me similar objects. Maybe it's the color, maybe it's the shape, but like as far as like inspiration finding, you might actually be in the wild and there might be like a little, excuse me, Greek key symbol on a building, or there might be something that is just really obscure and you're like, what is that? Or it's just the colors. So if you take out your phone and it's just the Google app, that's all it is. And you could start just grabbing those inspirations just on the fly. Absolutely, absolutely invaluable. I have, if you're not into the computer and you don't want to leave your house, you may want to just have some lovely subscriptions. So for me, I belong to the quarterly curated quilts journal service, and so this is issue number 17. I'm only missing one episode, number 2. Or I'm sorry, one issue, number 2. But I absolutely love this. This is really a fun journal to get, because they do these challenges, these mini quilt challenges. So it might be just a 16 by 16 or 10 by 10, whatever they call for, but they're normally going to supply you with some, like a rubric or some parameters to work with. So they'll give you the colors, and then they'll also give you what is the shape or something to work with. And you're like, okay, well, now that I have these parameters to work with, now you can just get into a little bit more laser focus, and you can start pulling ideas, like how you're going to wrap that into that challenge. But sometimes you just need a little nudge in that way. And while I'm at it, I'm going to give a big shout out to Emma Thompson over at Curly Seams. Tracy, her other co-host, is in the chat tonight. But Emma, this is the second time you've been published. I am so excited for you. They gave the challenge for polygons, and these were the colors that they called for, and Emma wasn't even going to do this challenge, but she got poked by Tracy, and Tracy's like, yeah, you're going to do this. Tracy didn't get in. Tracy didn't get in, but Emma did. And this is Emma's second time actually getting published. So kudos to her. I'm very, very proud of her. All right. And then I feel like I have got fireworks coming off of my head, but I'm really, like, if I'm passionate about one thing, is like that whole ideation and brainstorming. I absolutely am falling in love. And so Aaron, for the holidays, I think it was a year ago or two, got me the the Red and White Quilts Infinite Variety, presented by the American Folk Art Museum. And this book is so heavy, so thick, and it was a quilt show by a private collection. This woman wanted to show off all of her red and white quilts that she had amassed. She didn't make them, but she was a collector. And you see, like, I have all of these tabs that I'm like, yep, I want to do that one, that one. Like, I love the red and white inspirations, because it forces my brain to reimagine with different colors. So talk about a coffee book, coffee table book like this one. This has always been, the pluses have always been on my wish list and bucket list to do. And I'm so in love. If you can find something that just is candy and like non-fattening, this would be my quilting candy. And then the last thing that I could offer you is Barbara Brackman's Encyclopedia. This is the newest update that was released was it released last year or this year? I think it was last year. And she has, how many? 5,200? What does this ridiculous thing have? It's like, it's either 48 or 5,200. Something insane. Ah, here we go. So 4,210 different blocks. And like, when you think of like a feathered star or something like that, you think, oh, I know what a feathered star. No, she's going to show you all the different feather stars that she's aware of. And what's really cool is that some of these are so old that they've been around. And again, that takes me back to the beginning where there's nothing new. And it's really hard to come up with a new idea. So don't let that scare you, but just to maybe push you to find a new way to tell that same old story or that familiar story. And so this is another. If you just want to focus in on quilts and you're like, okay, what if I do this block? Actually, this one I love. Where are my tabs? Here we go. I just found another one. This one right here. This one I can totally see. It almost looks like bunny ears that are being folded. But see, that's one that I need to mark because that would be fun to play. And if you happen to see in my Finder tab with all my folders on my computer, is that I have one that is playing with, I want to play with perspective. And so like this one looks like the inner square is inset and that I could play with that dimension. And so that would be it. So I don't know how you guys feel, but like it is so liberating. It is so liberating to write in the book. And I'm going to write in my book with pencil because I can always erase it, and these little white erasers erase amazingly well. And if you've ever gotten a family cookbook or a recipe book and it is tethered, it is about worn out, it has writing all inside, and there's other recipes that are shoved in between the pages, and like that is a well worn and loved book that hopefully whoever receives it next is going to cherish it. I feel the same way, is that liberate yourself. You paid how much for this book, make it your own. Kind of like what I did with my Bernina. I understand as a brand ambassador, you're not supposed to put any stickers. I'm not a brand ambassador. And some people say, well, you're not going to put a bumper sticker on a Lamborghini or a Rolls Royce. And I'm thinking, no, I paid how much for this? I'm going to use it. And it's like, if you have your good china, use it. Don't just let it get dusty. And like, I want people to know this was part of B. It tells that story. And the same thing with your books. Write in the pencil, mark them up, and just don't use a pen because you can't really erase a pen unless you get an erasable pen. Now, if you're on the hunt, and where's my book? Here it is. If you're making sketches and you're like, hey, I've got an idea and I saw something in the park and all of a sudden something really caught your eye, what I would recommend is, like, let's say you're designing a block, and from whatever the inspiration, this might have been a window, this would be the time never to write in pencil, because when you're just getting inspiration, I want you to get out of the habit of editing. You're not putting any value judgments. If you make a mistake, you can always draw a new box, but definitely when you're sketching and you're ideating, then just use a pen. But if it's in your book and you're making notes for yourself, then go ahead and write in pencil. So those are the tips that I can offer you. And I noticed one chat that came in, and so Tracy, I don't know if you're still here, but so Tracy says, I'm not miffed at all she got in. Yes, we're very proud of Emma for getting into curated quilts, so good on you. And Tracy, she was so sweet. I was missing two issues. I think the first issue and the second issue of Curated Quilts, the printed. I know you can still get the PDF of all of them, and they're up to issue number 17. But Tracy was so kind, and she sent me all kinds of lovely things from the UK, and she's an instigator. She was like, here, you're going to do this. I love that about her. All right, so that's all I've got, and I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of the tips and tools that you guys could offer? You know, anything more that you could add, or go ahead and contradict me. That's fine too. If your team show me you're this on Facebook, that's okay. I love you too. But whatever it may be, just put your comments down below, and know that if there's one thing about me, that I see you and I will respond. I would encourage you, if you like this show, I would love for you to like and subscribe. It really does make a difference. I can tell you from the Fiber Hustle channel, we've done pretty well with subscription. And if you're in the UK, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It doesn't obligate you to anything. And it's not a bookmark. Some people use the subscribe button as a bookmark. But at any rate, I hope that at least one thing that you've gained from a value from this episode. Again, I'll be back on Friday at noon, and hopefully I will be able to keep it up and only have to do the episode once. But I do appreciate that you're here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much.